Hi, I'm Arlinda Garcia. I am the owner of B-Town Yarn located in Burien, Washington.
All right, Arlinda, thank you so much for joining us today. The first question we have for you is what was your drive to open B-Town Yarn?
So it was kind of a fluke that I own a yarn shop. A few years ago, like right before COVID started in 2019, I started crocheting again after like a decades long absence. And so I was having breakfast in Burien and I was looking for a yarn shop, and Town Square Fabric and Yarn was nearby. So we went after breakfast. They had a for sale sign in the window, and it seemed like a good idea. So here we are today.
Um, so going along with that, since you've opened your shop, what have you found to be the greatest joy and then the greatest challenge of running the shop?
So I took over the store at the very end of 2019. So like Christmas week, I think we closed the deal, and we reopened February 1st, 2020. So immediately, like 6 weeks later, COVID happened, and like
Mhm.
everything sort of went sideways. So that's been my biggest challenge to date, is just like navigating through that. I had a lot of like ways this could potentially go wrong, but like global pandemic was not one of them. And like the flip side of that, though, is that there was like a really solid customer base already built in. They're all really wonderful people, and like honestly, I would not be here if they weren't there. So it's been really nice connecting with them more and more recently, as we are getting more comfortable, re-engaging and re-emerging into the world. So it's just a lot of fun to see like all the different things that people like to make.
The next question actually goes into that a little bit, talking about so you're up in Washington State. Um, in terms of your climate, what do your customers typically work with, and what do they like to make?
Oh, so I carry a lot of wool primarily. And so most of my customers are looking for like merino wool, right? I've started to introduce some different types of wool into this shop. So those are slowly gaining some traction. But we have a lot of blanket makers, like baby blankets, kid knitwear, and then shawls is like the biggest item that
Mm.
people make, I think, which is funny because I love socks and sweaters. Like I want practical things that I'm going to use like every day. So it's a pretty wide range. We have some folks who love making the amigurumi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And like knitted dolls, like, and hats is big too. That's a really fun and easy project and a good palette cleanser if you've just completed a large one.
A yarn shop with wool. What uh what a surprise.
For sure.
Um, Thinking about universal yarn at your store, I looked on your site earlier today. I saw Cotton Supreme, Color Burst, yarns like that. What do your customers typically lean towards?
So in the shop, I carry deluxe worsted, um, the fiber natura, the I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Starts with an F. Uh, not
Flax.
flax. Thank you. Sorry, I had this down before we started. Cobblestone, and we do also carry the Cotton Supreme in the shop, and people really like the way that feels and the way it works up.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna ask about the cotton yarns. I see you have Ravello as well. Um, do your customers tend to use cotton yarns in the summer months, or is it wool year round?
We have both. We have some folks who are allergic to wool, so the cotton is a nice alternative. And we have really mild winters, So cotton
Mm,
is actually a nice like sweater option or like a hat. We
mm,
don't we have, I don't know, the winters are getting a little colder, I guess, or I'm like, oh, we're in the teens. But in general, I would say cotton is a 3 season yarn. And if we're having a milder winter, it can be all four. So there's not really, I don't have anyone who's like, oh no, now I switch over. Like they tend to use both, and it just depends on the project.
mm. What about color options? Do your customers like the bright and bold or neutrals? What does that look like?
I feel like we're very like we're very on point for the Pacific Northwest. We sell a lot of blues and greens. Blue's probably the biggest seller, and it's across the board. I really love a good jewel tone, so I like a lot of saturated colors in the shop.
Mm,
I have to remember to bring in more of the like pastel and neutral colors for people who are not me. But yeah, we get it's primarily blue, followed closely by green, and then we do hop into the neutrals a bit with like whites and like kind of lighter and darker grays in
mm.
there.
The next question I have for you, dating back to when you started running the shop in 2019 or 2020, what advice would you go back and give yourself um, for that moment?
Back then, I would probably say don't worry so much about the remodel. The space I took over, we revamped quite a bit, so that's why we were closed for the first month of 2020, and it looked amazing. But then we closed for COVID, so it wasn't like absolutely necessary. But I would definitely tell myself to still buy the shop and do it. It's been a lot of fun, very
Mm.
stressful times, but I love it. So it was a good choice.
Since you found us at Universal Yarn, what has been your favorite part about working with our company?
So it's been a big learning curve, just like how urine is produced and how it makes its way to us, and like all the different types that are available and what's best for what. So it's been nice to have people who are so responsive and like so genuinely love their products. Um, so lots of good information from you guys and very customer service oriented in my experience.
And have you gotten a chance? I know customers will come in and if they don't see a certain color, a lot of stores have the drop shipping capabilities as well. Talk about that for your store.
Yeah, we have definitely placed orders for people, and the dropship option is awesome. Like some of the stuff that is available online, I don't actually carry, but it's stuff that I've sampled, so I know that it's something that I would carry if I had a bigger space. So
Mm,
that's been really nice, and we have been able to direct people to a wider color range because I can't. We moved into a new space. It's about 600 square feet. So I have to be very creative, like with what I put in there. And so that's been a wonderful option for people. And I have to say, like the cobblestone that's our newest universal that we just brought in, and people have like gone gaga for it. Like all of the colors are really well done there, even the ones that I don't tend to gravitate to. Um, Across the board, it's been well received.
yeah, we've seen it on Instagram as well, the videos of cobblestone. So,
Yeah, that's been a very big hit in my shop, and I haven't made anything with it. I've been eyeing the Great Gingham sweater by, I don't know if I'm going to say her last name right, but Jessie Maid, I think, and that's a good weight, and it'll be pretty cool worked up, I think, in that format.
so going to social media and sort of your website as well. How does that work? I see you guys have a really nice website that's well organized, and your social media seems to be pretty consistent as well.
Oh, thank you. So the website, my partner is a web developer, so thank God for him because I don't know anything about that. And right, like huge plus for me when we had to like immediately pivot from like come in to we're only online. So anything that you like there feature wise is him. So thank you to him very much. And then the social media is all me, and I definitely have moments where I'm kind of like, what do I post today? It's definitely its own like side gig, right? But it's a lot of fun, and yarn is it's nice to look at, even if you can't feel it. Like it's just pretty. And when you see it all together, like all of the colors, it's just like possibilities, right? The reels, I don't think I'm so great at it, but I'm trying. Some seem to be more well received than others. But there's a learning curve there as well.
Your day to day, what does that look like? And do you have other staff members that work with you?
I do, yeah. So I actually have a day job, and I have two wonderful employees who, again, thank God for them because I couldn't do both. Like my day job is 40 hours, like during normal business hours. So, right after the pandemic, like sort of eased where you could start shopping again. Like I was 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. for several months while I was like trying to figure out like how I was going to make this work. Um, so now I have these wonderful employees who are there during the day and I'm there on the weekends and if we're having an event during the week. And I kind of have to work around that. But primarily, it's also eased up a lot of time because like I think when people think of like a yarn shop, you're like, oh, they must have so much time. And you really don't. So like a lot of the administrative stuff I thought I would be doing while I was like in the shop during downtimes does not happen. Because I have to take like, photos and think of real ideas and think of like social media content and help customers and like work on samples for the shop. So that's like when I'm in the shop, and then in the evenings, I'm kind of looking at inventory levels and doing all the behind the scenes, like the planning out the social media posts for the next week and putting that all together. So it
Mm.
can be really hectic. So like I feel like I have a very full schedule most of the time, but the employees really do give me some downtime because I don't think I could juggle both and like stay sane without them.
Do you guys offer any classes for your customer?
We do, yeah. So we're just getting back into classes and they're starting to gain momentum. We have one coming up um, at the end of the month for Portuguese knitting, and we just sort of offer what we think people will like. And so I don't teach. I, I think I'm like I would be terrible. I'm that person who's like, okay, I showed you that, so you have it now, right? Let's move. So I have some teachers that I work with who are wonderful at it. Lisa Ellis is one of them, and she does a lot of like color work and beginning knitting. We're doing socks. So yeah, it changes from like season to season, and also kind of with my schedule because we have it is a small shop. We do it before and after the shop is open, so we can actually get people in there, and I can create space for that. And we also have a knit night that we do on the first and third Wednesday of the month, which is kind of the same thing where we have to clear off our primary table and like set it up so we can all hang out and actually work on something versus
Mm.
like knocking yarn to the floor, which is what would happen. So
Well, it's awesome to have that support for your customers, classes, and just people
yeah.
that can teach as well.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. And like also like the previous owner left, had created a lot of good relationships that I was able to continue. So that was really helpful
Mm.
as well.
And then the last question we have for you today, the in your town, what type of outreach and events do you have for your community?
Oh, in Burien. So the shop itself, we participate in a couple of the local yarn crawls. Um, this year we're joining the Pacific Northwest Yarn Crawl, which is new for me. And then we do the slow yarn crawl, which is like all summer long. And there's also a really great organization called Discover Burien, whose like primary role is to promote um, like the businesses in the downtown area and also like create events that drive people there. So we'll participate in those as well.
Mm.
Um, the biggest one that we participate in is the Halloween, like the candy handout for the businesses. And that one blows me away. I think last year they had like 2,000 kids roll through a very small downtown area. So that was pretty fun.
So you guys just hand out candy to the kids for that?
Yeah. And you have to buy a lot more candy than I thought you did the first year. But it's pretty fun and it's really cute to see all those little
Hmm.
kids in their costumes.
Yeah, that's a great idea that the town had there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, that is all I have for you in terms of questions. If you want to expand on anything or um, mention anything else, feel free.
Oh gosh. I don't think so. It's great that you're doing this. I really appreciate the opportunity and pretty much all the yarns that I've worked with from Universal, I've enjoyed. I'm excited to see each year the new stuff that you guys come out with. So that's been really fun. Um, and yeah, I don't know. If you see this video, like feel free to come by. We'll be around.